Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to El.P Reviews, where we take a look at used cars in a new light. Today we're taking a look at the 4th generation post-facelift 2014 Mercedes E-Class. The first thing I noticed with this car was its color. I thought it was a wrap or a respray, but with research found it's one of the 5 special designer colors from Mercedes. The Magno Allanite Grey, which is just a matte finish grey. Very unique color, especially under the sun. The 2014 facelift improvements are quite compelling, starting with the sleek new shape that ditches the 4.0 generation E-Class boxy front in favor of a streamlined flow from nose to tail. The sedan and the wagon have also lost their prominent rear fender flares, leaving the coupe and the convertible to carry this touch. You can get the E-Class in either saloon, a wagon, coupe, or a convertible. The E-Class competes mainly with cars like the Lexus GS, Audi A6, BMW 5 Series, Volvo S90, Porsche Panamera, and Jaguar XF, though none of them can match the variety of body styles and engines in the E-Class lineup. There are also interior tweaks, a new suite of safety technologies, and an auto start-stop system. On the diesel front, the 4-cylinder E250 BlueTech replaced the previous year's V6 powered E350 BlueTech. However, the wild animal, the E63 AMG, got a bump in horsepower, then rated 550 on the base version. Standard all-wheel drive, electronically adjustable shock absorbers with rear air suspension, and the optional S package that increased the output to 577 horsepower. For one strip, it means C-Class. For 2 strips like this, 2 strips means the E-Class, and for 3, that's the S-Class. They did that to differentiate, to have you differentiate the cars from the front. The sport version of this, because it comes in two trims, the sport and the luxury. The luxury has less of all this aggressive stuff going on for it. The grille is different, and the star is not there. The star is put on the bonnet of the car. Starting from the back of the E350. The E350, the E is just the class of the car, and the 350 is the engine that the car has. So 350 in this one is a 6-cylinder, 2500cc. And I like this, where the boot comes and converges or like meets itself at the center, in the same place where the Mercedes sign has been put. You get all full LED taillights, and from the previous one, the older one, you'd get this white stripe here at the center. You get your parking sensors, and at the bottom, being the sports trim, you get dual exhaust tips that are there to mimic the AMG version, the more sportier looking car. Getting into the boot, you can either press the button at the back of the boot or use your key fob, which is here. So you press the boot opens. Nicely tucked in here is triangle reflector lights for emergency scenarios if you have a puncture or anything. I like the system of the boot where it's spring loaded. You open the boot and it springs up. And to bring back down, it's electric. Press a button and it comes back down. The boot in the E-Class is one of the largest in its class, which is actually bigger than the Legacy I reviewed some time back. I'll put a video up here so you can see it. Nice features inside the boot. You get this built-in tray where you can store, let me say, your shopping or things you don't want to move around in the boot. You just press it down, and you can hold up to 10 kgs. So other than having, let me say, the box from Naivas or the box from your local supermarket, you can have this, bring your trolley up, load your stuff, have that there. Take it back up, it's just a press of a button, and it goes all the way back up, and then put it away. What else do you get inside your boot? You get nets on the side to store more things. Then underneath you get a full-size spare wheel with your spare wheel service kit. That's the back of the E-Class. Let's get to the back seats and see what we have there. Getting to the back of the E-Class, the doors open quite wide, so I bet it's easy to put child seats here at the back. You get 2 child seat anchors on both outer seats, and getting in is easy because again of that wide opening door. Closing the door, how do I feel being in this car? Sitting comfortably, I have enough headspace. I have about 3 inches of headspace. having the front seat on my driving position, I have about, let me say, 1.5 inches or 2 inches of space. So it's quite comfortable being here. All across the trim of this year Mercedes-Benz, the leather trim was faux leather. So with the materials right now as they are, they're keeping up pretty well. But I bet this cannot used on a daily or as much with the rear seats, so the seats are quite plush still. The bad thing with faux leather is that with the time it will show more age than genuine leather. For storage, I have backseat pockets. I have a door bin that is relatively small. The materials at the top is this soft plastic material. All on the sides of the door, you get this nice wooden trim with a chrome strip. You get the same faux leather here with more black piano trim at the bottom. I like the door handle. It's even cold to the touch. The only thing I don't like about it is that I wish it was here, not here, because opening the door is quite awkward because you have this action of your elbow hitting the seat with you trying to have hand signals to open the door. For connectivity, you have a 12-volt socket here at the center, and that's it for connectivity. For the armrest, you get this nice strap here to help you open the armrest. The leather here is soft again. Even though it's faux leather, it feels really nice. Yeah? You get more storage underneath that's lined again in felt, so whatever you put in here won't make as much noise, or you can even put your phone here to keep it away from you for you to enjoy the ride. You press the button and your cup holders open. You can close this to have 2 cup holders for both outer seats. And let me close this as I get into the center seat. The center seat is comfortable. The backrest is not as hard, and the bottom area where you put your bum is soft too. But I don't imagine having 3 adults here at the back, because naturally I can see it being a squeeze. So I bet it's reserved for younger children. The transmission tunnel is quite large, and being that Mercedes during this era were primarily rear-wheel drive, you get a massive transmission tunnel going to the back. And it reminds me the same thing with the Tata Mark X that I reviewed some time back. I'll put it up here if you haven't watched it. Same thing. These rear-wheel drives have really big transmission tunnels. One other feature I didn't say was you get this nice sunshade here. It's manually operated, yes, but that's just one less thing that will get spoiled in future. So just put it up and it keeps the harsh sun rays from you or from your children who you'll have here at the back, or if you just want to keep the prying eyes of the peasants away from you. You get 3 sunshades here, and you get a third one on your rear window, but that one is electrically operated from the front seats. So let's get to the front and see what we have there. Yeah, solid. Getting here and being comfortable. I have enough thigh support, and the car has this flat feeling where your knees and legs are not upright, but they're more straight. So you get a more sporty feeling being in this car. It gives me the feeling of long journeys being effortless. And being that you have the V6 at the front, you know what it's all about. The steering wheel is this nice sporty Mercedes steering wheel with a flat bottom and nice indents for your 3 and 9 to have control of this car. I have a lot of headspace, and that's even made better with this sun shade here at the top. For materials, you get the same as the back, this soft plastic with the wood trim and the chrome trim across. You have the same nice cold feeling door handle. On this one, it's nearly the same as the back, where my elbow hits the back of the seat to open it. I wish they brought it just a bit forward for better reach. You have your lock and unlock buttons here on the side, and yeah, the leather on this still looks really nice. Probably it's a new car. I've seen on the door sills, I still have that paper on the Mercedes plate on the door, so it's fairly still new. You have this nice 3-dial gauge cluster with your speedometer. Looks like it's floating, but it actually runs from the inside of the gauge cluster. But it's a nice touch. That one I can't faff with the Mercedes. At the center console here, you have your air conditioning with the dual zone at the bottom. You have your media controls at the center and your infotainment screen at the top. Something that most guys don't know is that if your car won't start with the push start button, you can actually remove the button here then have your key and start the car manually. But if it's fully charged or if your key is working well, you don't have to put it, just put it back in there and you can start your car as usual. It's one of those gimmicks guys don't know about. For storage spaces, you have a couple of storage spaces. You have the center armrest, which is quite sizable, and you have a USB cable to connect to your infotainment system. You have 2 cup holders, an ashtray, and your cigarette lighter. I like how this trim here is smooth and damped when it closed. You have a sizable glove compartment that's lined again in felt, so whatever you put in here won't get scratches, won't rattle around, and it's all luxurious feeling in there. Differentiating this from the older one, your center air vent, you don't have your hazards here anymore. You have this nice analog Mercedes clock, and it's brought from the CLK to this model. That's the front seat. Let's open the bonnet of the car and see how the V6 looks. Under the bonnet, the E250 BlueTech relies on a turbocharged 2.1 litre diesel 4-cylinder engine, rated at 195 horsepower and 369 pound-foot of torque. The E350 has a more traditional 3.5 litre V6 that generates 302 HP and 273 pound-foot of torque. This engine also powers the E400 hybrid, but there's an additional lithium-ion battery and electric motor that contribute 27 horsepower and 183 pound-foot of torque. Actually, the E400 can travel up to 0.8 kilometers, which is around half a mile, and reach speeds of up to 22 miles per hour on electric power alone. I don't recommend getting the hybrid in this generation. The E550 goes big with a twin-turbo 4.7 litre V8 that's good for 402 HP and 443 pound-foot of torque. These numbers will be more impressive were it not for the E63 AMG's twin-turbo 5.5 litre V8, which lays down 550 horsepower and 531 pound-foot of torque, or 577 horsepower and 590 pound-foot of torque in the E63S model package. The 2014 Mercedes-Benz E-Class has a good reliability rating of 4 out of 5 from JD Power. The car is generally more reliable than the previous bunch, but only with genuine parts and timely service. Common problems in this car are rattling of the interior bits, automatic gearbox, gear selector not shifting well, ignition switch not detecting the key sometimes, fuel pump failure, air suspension failing on the trim's option with the air suspension. For engines, both petrol and diesel engines are quite reliable, just that for the petrol 4-cylinder engines have more major problems compared to the 6-cylinder or the 8-cylinder. And for diesels, the 4-cylinder engines have more major problems compared to the 6-cylinders. Mainly you find worn-out timing chains are common on high-mileage cars and even more common on the 4-cylinder engines, on both diesel and petrol engines. Safety. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration gave the 2014 E-Class sedan an overall rating of 4 out of 5 stars, with 4 stars in the front crash tests and a 5-star in the side crash and the roll tests. The Insurance Institute of Highway Safety gave the sedan an overall score of good in 5 crash tests and a superior rating for the front crash prevention. The 2014 E-Class still satisfies Benz's core customers. It's comfortable, luxurious, and safe. Add to that a livelier chassis, a sharper interior, and eye-catching exterior bits, especially those LEDs and the sports trim, and you get a formula that will keep the E-Class at the top of its class. So if you're looking for an all-round luxury sedan, wagon, coupe, or convertible, the 2014 Mercedes-Benz E-Class is a good place to start your search.